TV now.
Alright, here we go. Alright, and we are live with a Jose Inc. fam. I said you heard me, hold on. Y'all know how we do this. Start off, shout out to all 116 of you beautiful people. What it fucking do. Today, we are back with another installment of podcast Jose Inc. style. I say yeah. From all that.
You breaking up, Maddie?
Yep.
Okay.
You're still breaking up.
Well, y'all talk. Say what up.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Sean the Donn, on for another special edition of the Jose Inc. podcast.
And your boy P15 floating in as always.
And today we introducing the boy DD. I said you heard. Today's podcast is top 10 favorite animes all time from our 3 participants. So y'all know how we do. We're gonna get right into it. Of course, as tradition, has an honorable mention.
Honorable mention, always gotta have one. So my honorable mention for today's edition, just to clarify for all the viewers out there or anyone watching on the replay at a later date, I did my list trying to purposefully stay away from any mainstream anime, so the normal like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and all that stuff is not going to be on my list. Not to say that I don't love all those anime, but I tried to make my list with that being something a little bit different for the audience. So, my number 11, if you want to call it that, the honorable mention, is the anime The Dirty Pair. The basic premise of that is it's got 2 female cops in the future, and they're basically constantly trying to like solve crime. Kind of not too much action, but there is some action here or there when they're like arresting people, but mostly it's like comedic relief and things like that. So pretty funny ass show. The 2 bitches are hot as shit, and yeah, it's dope. So saw it on Showtime back in high school. It was on the late night Showtime animes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, definitely never heard of that one. Okay, so now that we are through our honorable mention, we're going to go ahead and start off with P15. So P, what is your number 10 favorite anime of all times?
Well, mine, I just picked ones that I thought are classics. You know what I'm saying? Good ones that I thought, I grew up on. So, of course, my number 10 is a old school classic. Sean, you already mentioned it. You know, that good old DBZ. I got to start with that, but that's number 10. Name my top. Just number 10. Everybody already know what. Fights, stories, sagas. Got you going through a lot.
Everybody, most people I would assume know TV or something. If you haven't, where have you been? But
Yeah, been under a rock. Congratulations.
Right, under a big rock. If you don't know what that was.
What you got going for 10?
So for number 10, openly, I think Matt will tell you, as well as PJ probably, since we've been talking recently about it. I am a huge Gundam fan. Unfortunately, I feel like Gundam is a little bit too mainstream. So I went with another mecha anime by the name of the Super Dimension Fortress Macross, which came out in 1984.
What?
The Super Dimension Fortress Macross.
Okay.
It's basically...
give us the rundown.
It's basically Gundam, but they're not as big of mechs. They're more like the size of actual like fighter jets. They're kind of like Transformers, I guess is the best way to put it. Like Starscream, how he's a jet that turns into the Transformer. It's a lot of that. But basically, the American name is Robotech, which is actually a compilation of Macross and 2 other mecha anime that they smashed together for one American release. So it's a little bit confusing, but yeah. So Macross was basically jets that would turn into like fighter robots that the pilots had, and they were fighting aliens. They actually got the technology from the aliens through like a Roswell incident, basically. Made all these futuristic machines, and then the aliens were finally like, nah, fuck this shit, we gonna come fuck you up now because you stole our technology.
We're on that ass.
Yeah, basically. So that's pretty much the basic outline of the plot.
Okay, now who is a
You gotta take me
who's like one of the, you would say
I want to see it.
to watch?
What was that, Matt?
Who would you say is the character to watch?
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, I guess the main character, because there's a lot of interesting little dilemmas, like, without getting into spoilers, obviously, but like, so they have this giant fortress that like is the alien technology that they stole basically after it crashed, and they end up like going through a lot of personal struggle dealing with that, like, because they end up like leaving Earth and some stuff happens, and then as they're coming back, they kind of, there's a lot of social, political, racial type of tension going on, because like when they come back, the people of the Earth government won't let them come back because they're like, nah, y'all like could be actually the aliens in disguise, we don't trust you now type shit. And like,
Only one season?
yeah. Well, they made sequels, so they made, that was the original, but then they've made Macross Plus, Macross 7, Macross, like all these sequels, which all actually kind of just like Gundam has one big timeline. It's the same thing, like this Macross Plus is the sequel to the Super Dimension Fortress Macross. It's like the direct sequel, so.
Love it. I love it. The one thing I hate is when you find a good one, either they only do like one season, or they just stop in the middle of an epic like point.
The worst.
Terrible.
Hashtag looking at you, Bleach.
Yeah, yes. All day.
That's fired. Oh, okay, Sean. Now, is there? And that's fine. Is there any one member beyond the spoiler that you can be like, oh yeah?
It's hard to say without directly going into spoilers, but when they first, when the Macross Fortress fires its actual cannon for the first time, because it's like this whole build-up of they won't fire it because like they're afraid of what it'll do type thing. Like basically it's like how you don't want to actually ever fire a nuke even though we have them.
Right.
And they finally end up having to use it, and it's like kind of a big deal. It's like, holy shit, they actually fired the Macross cannon. What the fuck? Like
Big up in moment. It just happened now.
Gotcha. Okay. So the new guy, DV, what you got for number 10, bro? Thought about that.
Nothing really was special about the cartoon other than one particular miniseries where they actually went against the Asians. I don't know what else about the Indian showing us out now. It's really too good. But just watching this cartoon miniseries will get you more interested in it. And the character to watch for mostly from the show of the miniseries would have to be the King of the Indians himself.
Oh yeah.
Conflict with the Dane, he almost kills things on the strike.
Savage level 100.
But yeah, King Black Bolt.
Interesting, because I'm not too familiar with Inhumans, even though I'm a no, I wouldn't say I'm a Marvel like fanatic necessarily, but I'm into Marvel. But yeah, I don't really know too much about the Inhumans, so that's interesting.
Oh yeah, you know the Black Bolt is pretty much the Inhumans were created by the Kree. The Kree came to prehistoric Earth trying to make weapons of mass destruction to fight against the Skrulls. And they created the Inhumans, and the Inhumans rose up against the Kree, and they left Earth and moved to the moon. That's when the city of Atlan was created, the dark side of the moon. And Black Bolt, being their king, is the strongest Inhuman, and not only that, he is so strong that he can't even talk because the portion of his brain does something with the protons and neutrons that surround the universe to where it messes with his voice to where if he speaks in a certain tone, he can destroy planets.
Jesus. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, so he's a beast.
I said, hey Dave, can you try to turn your mic up, bro? I said you really low.
Gotcha.
But okay, so let's go to shot. We'll start off with what you got.
You said for me, number 9?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I got a little known show. It had a little bit of a run, I believe, actually on either the Toonami or the Midnight Run back in the day, but it wasn't very long, so people might have missed it. But it's called Blood Plus, and it's based on a movie. Yeah, it's based on a movie called Blood the Last Vampire, but basically they made an anime, I guess you could call it like a spin-off, tie-in, something along those lines. Basically, the main character is this girl, and she finds out that her blood is the only thing that can actually be used to kill these, for lack of a better term, vampires, but they're not really vampires. They kind of look like giant bat-like monster alien things, but they have the same properties as what we would call a vampire. Like, they drink human blood and shit like that. And she uses her blood to kill them, because like when she uses her blood, it literally like coagulates their internal organs, and they like basically combust because of her blood being poisonous. And so it's basically about her trying to first learning that she has this ability, and then using it to kind of be like Blade type shit, where she's fighting the creatures and killing them and all of that good stuff. And I won't get into the twists because then it would be spoilers, but yeah, it's pretty good and it's not very long, so one of those ones you can watch in like 2 days and not have to commit too much time to.
I think I've seen it on Netflix.
I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or not. If it is, that'd be pretty dope, because I'd have to go back and rewatch it.
I think I'll look for it tonight.
Alright, Dave.
It's number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My number 9 pick had to be one of my all-time favorites, but just from the list I got, had to make number 9. It would be Afro Samurai.
Great show.
Dude, I forgot about
Afro.
that.
Right. Think about Afro.
Come on, Afro! He got a motherfucking RPG!
Of course, my favorite scene and character, of course, would be Afro.
Of course.
My favorite scene was when he had to fight the teddy bear head.
Yeah, his best friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I love that scene because that was one of the person that had the most strength that he could deal with the whole movie. So, yeah, that was my favorite scene. My favorite dude, his whole demeanor was just so cold of the whole series. And of course, his hidden personality was Samuel Jackson.
Literally the voice actor, and it was Samuel L. Jackson. Like, that's what the character was. And it had one of the greatest soundtracks, because if you didn't know, that whole soundtrack was done by RZA from Wu-Tang.
Speaking, shout out to RZA for you being able to go stand in that long ass Chipotle line and make a beat. Versus the food. So, you know. But, so that's not. Okay, Pete.
My number 9. So one that we missed the last one of the best fights. He got on mine. I say Claymore. It was on Netflix. I caught it. It was like maybe 2 seasons. Sean, I think you are you familiar with it?
Yep, I'm familiar with it. Yeah, like I said when we were talking about the fights, I haven't seen the show, but I'm aware of the show, heard of it, know the basic premise of the show and all of that. So
it was like basically to the point when I did the last review, like I wanted to put like more than one, because they like most of all the fights in the anime is just dope. Even from the first one to like the last, just dope. But
on there,
you definitely find it. It might be on Netflix pretty soon again. Not really sure. I know it was on there at one point in time. You can try to type it in. No. Check it out. It's a good one. Not be disappointed.
I think it was.
what was that, Matt?
Yeah, you was going in and out, bro.
Yeah.
That's who character.
I still there.
Character to watch, I think is what he was saying.
Oh man. I would say Claire. That's the main character. Pretty sure. I mean, every person that she ran into was like known for something. Cause they were like kind of like knights. That like defended the people for demons, But if so, some of them got corrupted, so they'll be extra strong. But yeah, pretty much everybody she ran into was gonna be a good fight. But Claire is definitely the main character. That's person to look out for. She go through she's a beast.
Yeah, she do. She go through some shit.
Real. I was like, oh my god, this.
Okay, so that brings us to A. Let's start with D.
Oh yeah, my number 8. Even though it's relatively new in the anime world, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you have been waiting to see something like this. It would have to be that new Castlevania.
I told y'all about that jump the other day. Yes.
Every time I get off the game at night, I put it on. Like, alright, I'm gonna try to at least watch a couple episodes before I fall asleep. And I never watched through the first one. It is dope.
Oh man, it's dope. And my favorite character, even though almost every character is hard, the one that sit out for me, like the badasses. I like Belmont.
Oh, of course.
The bar fight.
Of course, Belmont is the main character of Castlevania. He's gotta be badass.
Man, he just don't give a fuck.
Right. No fucks at all to give.
Neighborhood leaking with hot brass. Hey, well, since the Don gotta go into the door, what you got, P? Number 8.
So me.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, I got my old faithful Trigun, man. It was one of the very first animes I ever picked up, man. Oh my god. Dude, Vast Stampede. I don't know why. It was on Adult Swim, actually. That's when I first seen it. I was like, oh, shoot. This came on right after Dragon Ball Z. That was back in the day. That's how old.
Yeah, I hear Sean talk about Trigun. You said Vast Stamp.
Yeah.
Moment that was like, oh yeah.
You going in and out again, bro.
Yellow. Yeah. Alright, so what's that one epic moment for you in the series?
I would say when you very first confirmed that he is Vast Stampede, and you just do some ridiculous shit with a gun, bro. And of course,
my bad. I was grabbing my food. What is it? Number 8 is Trigun for UP?
Yeah, of course. You already know, man.
I figured.
You know it's gonna make it on there somewhere.
I knew it was gonna be there somewhere. Yeah.
That's like one of the very first ones I got started off on.
I feel you on that.
Analyzing people's lists and breaking them down. Up Coke, I said you here.
Did you already finish your rundown of that, P?
Yeah, I did. I mean, because it's such an old school. It's like basically on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean,
no, it's good, but it is older.
Yeah, everyone should know if they've been watching, anime as long as we have.
Right, exactly. I feel you on that. Alright, so my number 8, right? Is that what we're on? 8?
Yes, sir.
My number 8 is a show from the 90s called X. There was also a movie of it as well. Basically, it's honestly way too confusing to even try to explain in a 2-minute synopsis, but more or less, it's a lot of Japanese philosophy and religious shit put into an anime. The basic premise is that there's the good guys and the bad guys, and they all have crazy ass powers because they were chosen by, like, basically these two people. They're two sisters. One is like the good sister and one's the evil sister, and she gives them their like magical powers. But the two main characters, which were best friends in like high school, they're basically called like the chosen ones, more or less. They're like the Anakins of the world, but one of them is evil and one of them is good. And like when they're fighting, like these people put up these magical barriers that puts them in like an alternate dimension, so like if they fuck up buildings while they're fighting, it doesn't actually damage the real world. And basically it's a struggle between the two sides as to, like, if one side wins, they feel like the world will end, and the other side is trying to save the world. But there's a lot of plot twists, like a lot of main characters, to be honest, die that you don't think will die, and there's a lot of crazy awesome fights. And yeah, so there's also a movie, and the difference between the movie and the show is the ending is completely changed, the outcome of the fight. So
that's crazy. And you said it's called.
Yep, just X, the letter X.
Main character or favorite character?
Favorite character was probably the dude who uses fire. He was not the main character, but he was pretty fucking dope. He also, I think, had a pet wolf, which was also awesome.
Well, yeah, anybody that can tame a wolf roll around with it, pretty badass. That leaves us where that was
my number 8, so we're on to number 7 now.
All right, Don, go ahead and pick.
My number 7. Did they really not give me my gravy with my sausage and gravy though? I'm about to be salty. Yeah, my number 7 is a show that, once again, like, I think a lot of people will probably catch on. Most of my shows are going to be older and, like I said, not as mainstream. My number 7 is Wolf's Rain.
Like Wolf what?
Wolf's Rain.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, long story short, the wolves in this like alternate universe pretty much almost go extinct because humans are hunting them, and they develop this ability to make an illusion that they look like humans so that they can walk among the humans without being killed. They're trying to find this girl because this one specific girl is needed for them to open the key to paradise to bring about the new world, pretty much. And the humans are trying to kill them to stop them from doing it.
Shit. Now these wolves, I'm assuming.
The wolves you're assuming are... keeps cutting in and out. What was that, Matt? They really did forget my fucking gravy. I am angry as a motherfucker about this.
How can you forget the gravy?
wolves.
Right.
Where?
Nah, they're wolves, like dire wolves, basically. Yeah, so they're really big wolves, and it's got some crazy ass fights, like between the humans and the wolves, and then the wolves fighting other wolves, because like there's plot twists where characters turn bad and shit. So yeah.
Wasn't there other packs in this?
They were like the last. They're basically the last pack. There's like I think 8 of them or something like that.
Okay, we on 7, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. P, what you got for 7?
My number 7 is it was on Netflix. It's another one that like most of them I was kind of caught up on. Just because Netflix came out, I was like, anime, free, sweet. It's called Basilisk.
Good one.
Basilisk. I seen it like one time. I just seen it. It stuck in there. I was like, oh, that was a good one.
Give me a little quick. What's the
I think it
premise
had
of
one season. Kind of hazy on the main character's name. I do know it was about samurais and stuff, but it went down in this one. It's gory, nice, action-packed. Story was decent. I just don't remember because I only watched it one time. It was so long ago. But I had to put it on there.
Right.
Basilisk.
Openly. It's a good show. I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
I'll be honest. I just had to.
Alright. What you got for us, D?
I found my gravy. There was another bag. I'm excited again.
Look, got mad as
Hey, you're
fuck.
about to call and cut somebody else.
I was about to. No bullshit. I was salty.
What you got for your number 7, DV?
Alright, well, my number 7, I gotta go back to Marvel again. It would have to be the 90s X-Men episodes. Just for the simple fact that they would probably be the best X-Men series made to date. The
Open
one
facts.
that made me the most was the Phoenix Saga.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na.
That saga that really just drew my attention to the whole series was probably when
I knew it.
Shi'ar, protector of the Empire, showed off on Juggernaut. Juggernaut took a swing at him and did no damage. So he just took homeboy.
It was that. That's the joke from the "I'm a Juggernaut bitch" fucking spoof, right? At the end, he's like, "Look at this Laffy Taffy motherfucker," and the dude just throws him. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That shit was great.
Yeah, that was my number 7 right there. It was 5 seasons into the show. Every season was good, other than the 5th one.
Yeah, the animation got shaky on that shit.
Animation and the story, but other than that, it's a pretty good series.
Yeah, 90s had some of the crucial series. That 90s Spidey, Bats,
Openly.
X-Men,
Spidey, openly.
and even Superman. You know, I ain't really big on Supes, but that Superman series, all those that was in that time period, those 4 was crucial.
The Batman animated series.
Oh my God, Mark Hamill.
Man, he did Joker so crazy.
Shout out to Mark Hamill. If you didn't know, this man has been making videos where he reads Donald Trump tweets in the Joker's voice, and it's amazing.
Oh, what? Oh, gosh. Well, we'll be finding that. Definitely we'll be finding that. Alright, so we getting close to the top 5. We're going into number 6. P. What's your number 6, bro?
My number 6 It's a awesome vampire werewolf, just a natural one called Dance of the Vampire Blood. You heard me talk about it plenty of times. Main character's name Ikura. He's a werewolf that protects, like kind of like royalty. Of course, he's like Secret Service or protector bodyguard for the royalty of the vampires and shit. They blow down, take over. Had their own little combo in the middle of the city and shit. Like shut the whole damn Hong Kong down, like Asia down, like. But it's a good one.
What's the name of it again?
Dance of the Vampire Bund.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, you've been big on that for a while.
I still waiting for them to have another season, but they only made one season. I was really shitty. Like it had potential.
I'm still waiting for you to say the show I left off my list because I figured you would have picked it by now.
Well, we got more to go, bro.
That's true, we do.
We got more to go. You already know what I'm gonna say. You should know my number one because you know me, but don't say it yet.
So we DV. What's your number 6, man?
Well, I went in a kind of different direction for this one. It isn't technically a show, but it's a good animal. I'll have to say that number 6 will be coming in with Final Fantasy. And of course, the main character of the show, more the movie, is what got my attention was Cloud. And the biggest scene to me that made the biggest impact to me on the movie was fighting this big ass monster. And he takes the sword and jumps on his back, stabs it, and runs all the way down. And it lifts it and splits that motherfucker in half.
G shit.
That was like the scene for me.
Cloud is also the main character of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
That's the dude with the blonde hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big ass sword. You got a big ass sword.
I never played that game, but I at least know who the main character is a little bit.
Yep, I know him and Sephiroth.
Yeah,
Sephiroth, yeah, I've had heard of Sephiroth. Alright, Don, what you got, number 6? Take us into the 5th, take us into top 5.
So, yeah, 6. A lot of people may have heard of the show Sword Art Online before. In my opinion, this show was the original Sword Art Online, and they did it like way before Sword Art Online was a thing. It's a show called Dot Hack Sign.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Say dot
Basically,
hack sign.
Yep, dot hack. Like so, the dot hack, then backslash sign. It's like a computer programming name, basically. But more or less, the basic premise of the show is pretty much the same as Sword Art Online. The dude goes into a virtual reality MMO, and literally when he tries to get out, he can't get out, and the whole show is him trying to figure out why the game won't let him back out of the game, basically.
Shit, right. Sound like some twisted ass superhuman samurai cyber squad shit.
Sounds like a better Matrix.
Basically.
Yeah, you know how I fuck with the Matrix. So, alright, we have made it. Top 5. Time for things to start getting real juicy. Cause
Dylon, and Dylon.
That's what I
mean, now going into this, I openly knew I probably wasn't gonna know shit on Sean's list because he made it a point. P, you definitely have brought up some stuff that I knew you was gonna say, just knowing you, because you've been talking about it for years. DV, there's 2 particulars that you haven't said yet that I'm waiting to hear, so we're gonna see at the end if you list them off. But we get to that top 5. Sean, that's the vet. We gonna bring it in. 5. What you got, man?
where my Toonami people at?
Oh man, of course, bro.
You remember the first big Toonami lineup they did when they officially went to being exclusively anime? It was DBZ, it was Rurouni Kenshin, it was Sailor Moon, I think there was
Tuxedo,
Inuyasha might
shout
have
out
been in
Tuxedo
there.
Mask.
Yeah, I don't remember Sailor Moon,
Shout
but
out-
I definitely remember Inuyasha.
Right, and then this was one of the other shows that was in the first big lineup they did. It's a little gem called Outlaw Star.
Oh yes, I had that first season there.
Openly,
He hit you with a
probably
thought,
the
yes.
second. Openly, it is one of the probably the second best opening song to any anime of all time. Yes, it is straight up. It is straight
Fire.
up J rock. It's Japanese rock to a T, and it's amazing.
They got that Nakamura.
And yeah, and it follows. It's like it's on another level from Nakamura because it's not like it's straight
Violin.
up rock. Yeah,
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
violin. It's rock. Like it's amazing. So, and basic premise is they're in outer space on this spaceship, and the pilot or captain is Gene Starwind, and you're kind of just following them as they try to do this mission that they're tasked with, which is basically taking this girl from one place to another. But of course, in the course of that, there's a whole bunch of other shit that happens, as always. But that's the basic premise. They're basically on this mission to get the person from one place to another, and there's a whole bunch of crazy shit that happens in between.
Okay.
But it's just a great show. It's a fucking amazing show, actually. I'll say
Yes,
that.
it is. I was going to put it. I was like, nah, you
ridiculous.
can put that. Sure enough. Fucking head.
Look at you trying to get in my head now.
I did. I didn't put it on there. I was going to, bro. Oh my mama.
My mama.
Where does she get it from? She get it from her mama.
Alright, Dave, what you got for number 5, bro?
Alright, well, I had to do something, just what type of animated series affected me. And even though the show was a little different, a little toned down, not really too much fighting, it was just this one particular mini-series of a season that caught my attention. And number 5, I have to go to Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament of Champions.
Oh, shit. Nah, yo.
I consider Pokemon an anime.
So, fun fact, Dave, right? Is it Dave? Dev? Okay. Did you know the big reveal at the end of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series?
That's it. I've never made it to the end. That's the only thing.
So, fun fact, every goddamn time this man is in a jam, he always says Heart of the Cards, and he just somehow happens to get the right card that he needed.
Right.
You find out at the end of the show that that's the Millennium Puzzle's power, is that it literally will make you get the card you need to win the duel. So he basically was cheating. He was basically cheating the entire fucking show.
What? Yu-Gi-Oh! A cheater?
Yeah.
We promoting cheating in
Cards.
comics? Oh, shit.
Yo, Heart of the Cards is bullshit. It ain't no fucking
Oh,
it's the fucking
shit.
Millennium Puzzle.
So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that kid that's like, oh, I got invisibility
Yu-Gi.
and super speed and super strength
Yeah,
and fire powers
basically.
and say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
I'm afraid to say it is so.
You out here cheating, good.
He out here cheating for real, bruh.
Shout out Haha Davis for the double take, man. Fucking hilarious guy. If you don't know who he is. Okay, so that was Dave's. So everybody get their 5.
So now P.
Okay.
P.
P. Okay, P. What you got?
Yo. For what, number 4? For 5?
Number 5. Yeah, number 5.
Oh, Brother Blood.
I ain't never heard of that one.
Yeah, you gotta elaborate on that.
Arson Blood Brothers. I just know what was about it. Vampire dude. I think he was Dracula. He was a fucking beast and killing niggas. I only seen it one time. But that one stuck cause it was one of the ones that kind of fucking Netflix.
You got a moment that stuck out in your mind that was like, oh yeah, they're going hard.
They boxing.
The very first episode, he blows down this street full of just like rogue vampires, just filling up the street. This dude, he runs through at least 200. Easy. Like, but they make it look like a dope fighting sequence. It's like all the fights, it's like, it's not like he overpowers people, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good fight. It's very entertaining.
You said, say that name one more again?
Blood Brothers. Because it's him. He would, and then his little brother, which you find out, I mean, of course, ain't his little brother, but is he a little blind, a little boy. And they just, you know, that's basically his sidekick.
So that's our number 5. Foe. Start with the Donn. Okay, P. Foe, bro.
4? Oh, everybody know this. Of course. Full Metal Alchemist, bro. You know it's gonna make this. Come on now.
Brotherhood or original?
Oh, Brotherhood. I personally like Brotherhood.
A lot of people
do. The original is good, but Brotherhood, I just like it's got more action. It goes down. No. I mean, the fight scene that I picked for the last one that we did was off of Brotherhood.
Yeah, I definitely did peep that fight after you brought it up too.
Bro. If you seen Mustang fight, they find the Grandmaster head colonel of like the Alchemist is actually fucking smuggler. That's why he wearing that patch. Man, bro. He's a beast. He just carried like 2 swords. I think his because you know they all got their names, Lust, Greed.
Yeah, the 7 deadly sins, basically.
Yeah, I think he's like anger or something like that. Something intimidating. They all scared of his ass. Who up next?
Number 4, P. DV. What you got for, bro?
Alright, well, number 4, I had to go back to another movie. It's Anima. But number 4 was my pick. That new Resident Evil Vendetta.
Is that good?
Gotta check it out.
You know how I feel about my Resident.
Oh yeah, it's 3 CGI so far, but the 3rd one is on point. Leon Kennedy was the character that set up the movie. At the end of the movie, I don't really want to give it away, but Chris Redfield had been fighting the main villain throughout the whole movie and was getting his ass kicked. Dude got a hold of the virus, you already know he got some pretty good up. And Chris Redfield was just overwhelmed. Leon Kennedy really didn't want to fucking do anything the whole movie anyway, because he was tired of this shit. But he showed up at the end and showed his ass off. You gotta see it. It's on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, it is?
I want to say so.
Should I watch it?
You got that good old fire stick to be there. But it's worth it.
Okay. Let's just go to the Donn. For number 4, man.
Number 4. The greatest horror anime of all time.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Parasite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need details. I heard you going in about this the other day. I need to know what's up.
You ever play? Well, I'm guessing since Dave is a Resident Evil fan, he's probably played it. But have you guys played Resident Evil 4 when they started doing the Las Plagas things instead of just the traditional zombies? Imagine that, but they're aliens that invade your body and take control of you.
Oh,
And
no.
they literally have like giant tentacles coming out their heads and shit. And this dude, it tries to infect him, who ends up being the main character, of course. But he's able to block it so it only goes into his arm instead of going into his brain and totally taking over. So basically he learns how to control this thing inside of his arm and use it to go kill all the other motherfucker monsters that are out there.
Oh, so he on some
like
liquid
there's one
snake.
scene,
Okay.
yeah, so there's this one scene where he picks up a like pebble and he mutates his arm so it goes like Hulk smash size out of like, you know, because he like manipulates his arm, and he throws this pebble and you see on a roof like 7 buildings away there's one of these things walking around, and it's got the big ass tentacle coming out of its head with like an eyeball at the end and then a claw on it. And he literally throws this pebble and it hits this man and literally like completely implodes his body because of the force that the pebble hits him. It's extremely violent, extremely gory, graphic, all that stuff, not for children. But if you like creepy horror type video games or movies, this is one of those animes that actually would fall into that category. It's very creepy.
Parasite.
Yep, it's spelled Parasyte. Parasite.
It sounds like a must watch.
It is definitely a must watch for you, Matt. I can tell you that.
Done. That's why I do these to figure out what I need to get in on. All right, so did everybody do they 4? Yeah.
Yeah, we're on number 3 now.
All
I
right,
just did my number 3.
Wait, you did your number 3?
Yep, that was my number 3.
Oh shit, where's it happening to me? So what's your number 3? What's your number 3?
My number 3 is an old time favorite from everyone. Another old school one is Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I love you.
Knew it was coming. Boy had box sets for days with the.
Everybody know about it. Everybody fuck with it. That tournament, and then after the tournament, I only thing I didn't see is when he's about to come, he unlocked his half demon side.
Yes, when he goes and gets training from Ryzen.
Bro, I didn't get to see that. I wanted to.
Oh, you need to, dude. Go back and rewatch it. They got it on YouTube. Yo, when he starts fighting the S demons, like, dog, there's a fight between Hiei and Hiei's mentor who gave him the Jagan eye, and she's a chick. So everyone, like, that was one of the big twists. Like, oh shit, one of the strongest 3 demons is a chick. And he throws the Fist of the Dragon Flame at her, and she literally rips the dragon in half with her bare hands.
Damn.
Like, their power scaling goes off the charts at the very end. That shit was dope.
Bro, I'm trying to fucking see that shit.
Yeah, you definitely gotta finish it out. After Shinsui gets killed, like when he does the possession thing where he gets possessed by Ryzen's spirit or whatever, after that, like, the whole series takes that crazy power level twist type shit. Like, all of a sudden everybody's an S-class demon.
Bro, I do need to see. You said it's on YouTube?
Yeah, you can definitely find the fights on YouTube if you look them up. I don't know. I think they have the episodes. Yeah, I think they have the episodes. You'd have to double check, but I know for sure.
What number episode is?
I think it's like, I think the fight with Shinsui ends around like episode 90 or something like that. So it would be somewhere in that ballpark. I'd have to double check to see exactly what episode the last arc starts at.
Yeah, because when I found out, I was like, whoa. found out he was a half demon. I was like, that's a nice surprise. That motherfucker went nuts on that boy. He had no chance.
That was your number 3, P?
Yeah, that was my number 3, bro.
Okay, so we
These
on
moments when he fought that boy Switch, he turned into a fucking demon at the end of that season. Oh my god.
Alright. And who now?
Dave has to give his number 3.
3. But hold on, one question for P on this. Outside of the main character, who is your mans in that series? Who the go-to?
Who is who?
Who's your man?
Who was your favorite? Who was your favorite character outside of Yusuke?
My man Cool Bar. His
You're a Meshi.
You're a mess.
What do you mean you're a Meshi?
He might not have been the strongest. I mean, Hiei was of course the beast, and I can't remember the dude's name that could turn into that fox.
Kurama, yeah.
I like Kurama a lot just because he could turn into that fox. Like, he used to be a real strong demon, and he,
It's episode 95 is the start of the last saga.
It's the start of the last saga?
Yeah,
so
episode 95.
96.
No, episode 95 is like when it starts.
Okay, so that's when I'm gonna start episode 95.
Yep, episode 95.
I think I'm gonna watch. Is it English dub?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, they finished
Okay.
it.
We're about to go to Dave with his number 3, but before, if you're watching this now, or you catching this on the replay, don't forget to drop that thumbs up. I said you heard. Say you heard me if you heard it. But go ahead, DB, what you got?
Sorry, no, it's getting serious now.
Yes, sir.
Now, number 3.
Sir.
Just letting y'all know how my number 3 is, and let y'all know how serious I had to put some thought into this list and let you know my best animals of all time. Coming in at number 3, everybody's all-time favorite. Yes, indeed. Dragon Ball Z.
Coming in number 3.
So that was brought it to the 3 spot. But I mean,
He made it to the 3 though. It's like,
And the one that really just set my eye about it, because you know it, y'all know me, I always roll with the villains. My favorite villain of all time had to be Frieza. And of course, the Frieza saga's what put me onto the show because each transformation he had, he just got so much more difficult to deal with. And he went to that 400% with Goku. He was banging with Super Saiyan Goku for a minute, but you know,
if he wouldn't,
all the good things last for so long.
right, if he wouldn't have fucked up Krillin, he might have kept that edge. Once he tore Krillin up. But Frieza had that slick tongue. He is tall.
Like, he had that tongue, but he was always talking shit.
Shut up, you filthy monkey.
Man, right. When she started calling
Like,
niggas
literally,
monkeys, I'm like,
Frieza
yo.
Right, Frieza was openly the first. Right, Frieza was openly a racist, and it was just disguised in an anime form. Like,
Yeah, because they real life had tails, so it was like, oh,
they,
well,
they real
do
life
turn
were
into monkeys.
Like,
Right.
shut up, you fucking motherfucker.
He was so petty to lose.
he was so petty. Yeah, he was so petty.
So, question,
Yo.
hold on, question for P and Sean. Is B the Frieza of our group?
Oh, openly.
I mean, damn.
I don't know who B is. That's B from the Petty Review. Y'all can check that out, man.
Openly,
Y'all know
openly,
it.
openly he is. But it's cool though, cause I feel like we all got a little bit of character tendencies to us, you know. So
Can't even
it
let
is.
my man, the benefit of the doubt. He's just like, yes.
No, you know, ain't no benefit to
Without a doubt,
these
without a
ass.
doubt.
He
All
over
right.
here being Piccolo. He over here just like, I'm just gonna sit here. I just want to chill, guys. Like, can we just chill?
Who me?
Yeah, you Piccolo.
You know what
Until I gotta throw off that damn armor. B's in the stream, by the way. He's like, really? What the fuck?
I mean, you know, I cannot tell a lie.
Yeah,
I cannot tell a lie.
You get the bag and fumble it.
I'm surprised he ain't jumped in the mic yet.
I'm a little surprised myself.
Because he waiting. He probably eating. He gonna take flight as soon as the show over. But
Probably true. Probably true.
all right. So we down the drum roll levels now. 5 and 2 for everybody. 5 and 2. So we're gonna flip it. DV, what you got for number 2, man?
Man, now it's down to the last two. You know, this one was difficult because either one of these could have been number 1, number 2. But y'all ain't hit. Number 2 coming in. It's 2 movies, but it's got its own recent manga anime series. But it has to go to the 1980s Hitman Professional.
Go 13. Nigga, I knew he was gonna put that on that bitch.
Now, if you ain't hip with Go 13, his real name that they know of is Blue Togo.
You talk about that Hitman.
Yeah.
Man, that's that fucking. Oh my god.
So, my favorite thing that sticks to my mind about Blue Togo is he had a hit. He had a killer.
But he's a dope ass Hitman.
Hey yo.
Yeah, dope ass.
Hey yo. How did we skip my number 3 though?
I thought you said you did your number 3 before P did his.
I think I got fucked up.
Yeah. You was too focused on them sausage and gravy. I knew I wasn't tripping.
I was focused on.
You was over there eating.
Yeah, I was eating.
Now you pulled the B.
Dave, go ahead and finish, man. I'm not gonna steal your spotlight. I won't Kanye you like that.
Oh, by the way, hold on, before you, I'm gonna let you finish. But before you do, B says, "Be ready, pettiness is coming. Making a drink."
Oh, okay.
But go ahead. We gonna finish on DV's 2, and then we gonna go back to Sean's 3.
So Duke Togo pretty much. The episode that set to my mind was he had a hit where he had to kill a billionaire. The billionaire was kind of like drawn from the world. What the dude did was he created a mansion in the middle of the water surrounded by a bulletproof glass box. And the only thing Togo knew was he would open up the sunroof every morning and in the afternoon to go for a swim in his pool. So this fool, Dick Togo, mind you, he's only armed with a 357 Magnum and
The greatest handgun known to man.
So he gets in a helicopter, and when dude is in the pool, he lets off the sunroof, and dude sees the helicopter coming, and he sees Dick Togo in the helicopter, but he don't think Togo can do anything. Because there's only so much of a small window he's got to assassinate the dude. This fool, Dick Togo, shoots the gun, ricochets off the water, off the bulletproof box on the ceiling, hitting the dude in his head clean.
That's pretty crazy.
Every episode is an assassination, and he always gets his get.
Always.
Oh my god. That's
what I tell you, I told you, Sean.
You gotta see Go 13.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
He be hitting motherfuckers.
He be hitting.
He be hitting.
Oh, that's the best.
Bitches be into it, and he be mugging hoes.
That's great. that's great.
And he
I
looks
love
like an Asian Steve Seagal, so it just makes it so classic.
That's great. That's fantastic.
All right, so we gotta jump back to the Donn for 3. Yeah, you gotta hit us with your 3 and your 2.
All right. So number 3, the seminal classic that, in a lot of ways, is credited with like starting the new age anime, I guess you would say. Started the trend of cyber Neo Tokyo landscape, futuristic post-apocalyptic setting shit.
Motherfucker, hit me with it.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. Okay, Scarlet.
Yeah, so if anybody saw that movie, I apologize. That movie was like it was not a representative of the show or movies at all. The show,
which most
is
movies ain't.
just infinitely better than that horrible bastardization that they had the nerve to put the name on. So
damn bastard.
Yeah.
He using them words.
It was almost as bad. It was almost as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution, bro.
Oh my god.
Evolution.
It was almost as bad. Almost.
Oh my god.
But so yeah, Ghost in the Shell. Basic premise is the main character is basically a cybernetic like android who works for the government, and they have her doing like various different missions and things like that. There's a lot of side plot like crazy stuff that goes on. To be honest, it's kind of confusing, but it's a really good show, and anybody should at least check it out once, since it is one of the classics of anime. So,
dude, one of the classics. Good classics.
So yeah, and then we go to my number 2, which is another classic. Probably the most confusing ending of any anime ever. Like, I think it has the ending of anime equivalent of Blade Runner. Like, people still don't know what the actual ending was on this fucking anime. And that's Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I've never heard of that.
So Evangelion is definitely has a cult following of being the best kept secret anime that's still somewhat mainstream enough that people know it, but not as mainstream as all the other mainstream shit. Basic premise is they have giant robots like Gundam, and these aliens invade, and they use the giant robots to fight the aliens. But there's obviously like with Gundam, there's a lot of moral conflict about like, are we doing the right thing? We're just kids, we shouldn't be doing this. And yeah, so there's a lot of moral dilemma throughout the show. I cannot stress this enough, the ending is confusing as fuck, so don't be surprised if you're confused when you get to the end. But everything, like, basically just don't watch the last episode, really. Like, if you watch everything up until that, it's good. It's the last episode, it just gets really fucking weird. But, yeah.
Hold on, what was the name of it? My controller won't do it.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Gotcha. I mean, not really, the name.
I told him I was coming with the obscure shit this time.
You weren't lying. I mean, other than Ghost and openly only know it because of the movie, which I didn't see, but I didn't know it was based on anime until they said something about it. Alright, so Dave and
PJ,
the
number 2.
B, what you got? Number 2.
I mean, millions of people love these films. I mean, I'm just gonna say it's Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
When I seen that shit, I'm still waiting for the second season on Netflix. When I seen that shit, I was like, this is some real shit. This bitch just ain't this nigga's mom.
Oh, it's not on Netflix, it's on Crunchyroll.
I was just like, why? Who made this?
Why? Who made you like this? Ain't nobody coming for all that.
Well, because at first I thought that's just what the show was gonna be about. These niggas running for their lives, and these niggas out here.
Right.
And then I seen they had a whole like, military on killing these motherfuckers. I was like,
zipping through the motherfucking.
Zipping through the trees. What the my part be when I'm getting snatched up by the air. Zipping through the damn line. I want to know niggas by the teeth, nigga. Grab the motherfuckers. But yeah, that's my number. That's my number 2.
Okay. So we down to the gusto. That'd be number 1. Give you the honors as the die. What you got now? Number 1. Take us there.
So, I'm a little sad because there's so many anime that didn't get mentioned that I feel like should have made it into the episode, but that's okay.
I mean, that's cool. We can easily. We got time actually. We did a good time, so we can hit on the most missed. Clint, bro.
Yeah. So my number 1. I struggled with this because I didn't want to put it on here because technically it is mainstream, but it is the greatest anime of all time, and I couldn't keep it off my list because it just deserves to be number 1, and that's Cowboy fucking Bebop. It's the best. It's the best. It's just the best.
I've never seen it.
Oh my god, it is amazing. From having the best opening and the best ending credits music you'll ever hear.
And the whole story,
the whole story is amazing.
And it was good.
Like the acting, the voice acting, like it's a fucking amazing show. Like Cowboy Bebop.
Dave, you never seen Cowboy Bebop?
Hell no.
Bro,
It's a chapter.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, like, to tell you how good it was, for a very long time, IMDb, which is obviously known for the movies, they only had 2 anime in their top 100 as voted on IMDb. One was the movie Akira, which I consider to be the best anime movie of all time, and the other was Cowboy Bebop. So basically, the main character, Spike Spiegel, is, well, all of the cast, really, they're space cowboys. They're bounty hunters, and Spike Spiegel is a master of Jeet Kune Do, and the main premise is them doing missions to make money, to, you know, get supplies and shit like that. But then there's also, like, a subplot, which is that Spike is trying to basically get back at his former partner who betrayed him, and so he's also like trying to find where he's at and things like that. So, and the beginning song is Tank, which is basically like a jazz song, which is amazing. I feel like Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, I feel like Cowboy Bebop probably is one of the few times I can say that the opening music and the end credit music perfectly just like exemplify the anime as a whole when you think about it.
It really does.
So great.
Okay. So number 1 for Sean. Number 1.
Y'all already know it's down to that time, so
I already know you're gonna say
y'all already didn't know. Number 1 anime of all time, Guyver. Only one
Can
name
do it.
needed. And my favorite character, of course, is Guyver 1, which I believe his name is Ishima? My favorite
Top
scene in the whole series is the first time he uses the Mega Smasher, which, if y'all don't know, is pretty much the equivalent of a fucking F-14 jet engine, Super Saiyan up, opened up from his fucking chest and destroying anything within my miles radius.
Yeah, that's
wonderful.
That's the one I already I called it.
That was that you put Ronin Warriors.
a toss-up though, because Professional almost played it. Dick Toko almost played it, but Dick Toko just ain't got no fights. Like, he slaughter people, so.
Right.
He slaughter people.
Like, even when they try and fight him, he just slaughters them. Like.
Right. Yeah, I think Matt was trying to ask. He's surprised that Ronin Warriors didn't make your list, Dev.
Oh yeah, Ronin Warriors. Oh yeah, that's my shit too. But there's a lot of ones that I didn't get to mention too, like Ronin Warriors, Centurions. There's a couple other ones.
That shit. Eesh.
Number one.
Numero uno.
Si, senor. But number uno is Bleach. Even though they ended up fall, they didn't finish, Wakamundo series and shit.
Well, they finished that. They just ended it before they got to the Blood arc, or the thousand year Blood War arc is where they cut it off.
Yeah,
So we didn't get to see all that shit. Yeah, no, they shouldn't have cut it off because that whole arc is amazing. But
yeah, I forgot they did that. I didn't catch it. I see that part.
yeah, they show him fight Aizen, and then they get to
Aizen turned out to reminds me for damn crystal or whatever.
Yeah.
Just all white looking thing.
Yeah, the Hyugyoku or whatever the hell it's called.
Pretty much.
Yeah, great anime. Lots of awesome fights for sure.
Yeah, but wish they would have finished. But that nigga went full fucking hollow with the horns, with the hair and shit. The fuck with his ass. The fuck boy Ichigo.
He was dirty, definitely.
Bro. Dirty and aggressive.
He was angry as a motherfucker.
Yeah, the aggressive. So now we have completed the list. Sean. Give me some of the animes you thought that didn't get it. You thought was going to.
In no particular order. Elfin Lied. Yeah, Elfin Lied. Definitely amazing. One Piece, obviously. Like, I'm not a fan of One Piece, but I'm kind of surprised no one else picked it.
I get it's cool.
Naruto got left off.
Nah, I left it off. I was gonna put it on there, but
thought that was
yeah.
put it off. I replaced it for Claymore the last one.
Really was surprised that Rurouni Kenshin or Inuyasha didn't make a list.
Inuyasha. I'm surprised P didn't have.
I'm surprised that Ronin Warriors didn't make someone's list. Hell, Pokemon, to be honest, like, could have made a list, really.
Well, I would say the fact that on the joint.
Yeah. Who else didn't? Oh, Death Note. Fucking Death Note didn't make anyone's list. How did that happen? Yeah, I mean, those are the main ones. I had a bunch of older ones that I was surprised didn't show up too, but that's just because they were like popular when we were kids more so than anything.
Cowboys of Mesa.
I mean, I definitely have never heard of that one, but
oh yeah, that's the shit.
But maybe a little show called The Big O.
Oh yeah. Big O was cool. It was alright.
Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
Tales from the Crypt, though. Yeah, I don't know. There was Card Captors, Monster Rancher, Beyblade. Zoids,
Digimon.
Digimon,
Zoids.
Blue Submarine number 6.
Mummy's Live.
Or so many. Like,
SWAT Cats.
That was
The SWAT Cats?
nah, but
Pretty damn close.
Astro Boy, Gigantor, Voltron,
Oh, man.
Transformers, Beast Wars.
You know what, Dave, I am surprised you didn't put Transformers on there. Hamburger shells. My.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of anime that got left off. I mean, hell,
It's
even
the favorite list and not the overall.
yeah, even oh my god, why am I drawing a blank right now? I can't remember what I was gonna say. There was something I had, and then it went away, disappeared.
Reactions. It's like that fucking. Oh, you know which one? You know which most important one I left off? Spawn.
Spawn had an animated TV show?
What? On HBO? Yeah.
I didn't have
Shit,
HBO.
bro.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's graphic as fuck.
Huh, never knew that.
I forgot him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, check it out, man. Spawn was the shit. He was killing shit.
No lie. Oh shit.
No lie.
Bang it back.
Was left alone. And get his Wanda back.
Wanda.
Till it was that showing up. She was on some shit who was known as Angela in the Marvel Universe. Some trash and shit. The sister. A little bit, but Spawn. Oh, Jose Ink fan had a good hour. Very. Go ahead and check names multiple times. Some, you know, say anybody that's butthurt that didn't make it. I mean, hey, we don't page. The day, y'all. I think you get down with this. Oh, Veterans Day. Shout out to the vets. Thank you for going out there and busting that. I ain't got to, so I can sit here and talk that shit. But I think time video games for
Top
every
10 all-time video games?
Yeah, I think with this cast right here. I was feeling this vibe right now.
That
Yeah,
might actually be fucking harder than the fucking anime for real.
Oh,
for real.
It's arguments in that one. And
You already know somewhere in that list is gonna be Booger Man.
Booger! The throwback.
Throwback Sega Genesis.
Hey, man, that's what the squad came to give you today.
Earthworm Jim.
Hey, Earthworm. Had some shit, even though it's fucking. That's for another day.
Conker's Bad
Plays,
Fur Day.
Don't. Sean, do you know that date off the top of?
Do I know the day of what? God, man, I cannot hear you at all, bro.
I said
What did he say?
Survivor Series.
Oh, it's next weekend. The 19th, I believe.
Bet.
Yeah.
The 19th. Can be
Yep,
Sean the Donn Series Go ahead and click that to enjoy this, because these aren't playing. Like as far as podcasts will be representing your boy Jose. There.
Hit that like and subscribe.
Oh, you always. We all about them thumbs up. Representing Sean the Donn. The whole Jose. Don't say you heard. Hi to the people. And we are out.